We had 2 days of thinking that he was alive, and they were that he was going to be coming home to us.
My name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says, "Oh, hey, you're a mom? That is fabulous." But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channel Mom Show with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
Ladies, are you tired of anti-aging products that don't work? There is a product that is backed by real science and proven by real results that you'll see on your face. Just click our Nerium AD ad to the right of this video to find out more.
Hey, welcome back to the Channel Mom Show, where we are here for you, Mom. We won't mention ABBA.
Lady, you switched ABBA song.
This is a different
This
ABBA
is
song.
new ABBA song.
Actually, we're getting all new music because I'm tired of my old music. I love ABBA, but we're done. And I said ABBA because that's what you like.
Yes. Well, they're British, and they don't use ABBA.
Aren't they Swedish?
Maybe they're Australian.
I think they're Swedish.
Oh, they're Swedish.
Oh,
Julie
I'm getting
says
the
they're
big
Swedish.
nod. Thank you. I'm right.
I messed up on my facts once again.
Just kidding. We have Angie Austin in the house. She used to be a TV news anchor here in Denver. I used to work with her, but she now has the Good News radio show on KLVZ 810 AM here in Denver, and also KLTT. Yes, we're so glad to have you. And you're going to help me interview today, aren't you?
Sure, I'd love to.
We're going to take a serious turn, but this is going to help some people out there today. I'm confident of it. If you have any kind of a military background, and if you're just a mom, this story is going to touch you, and I'm hopeful will be moving to you. These are some words written by our next guest in her book, Missing Max. Julie Schrock's words. My sister pulled the car over. Mom and I got out, and we held each other, screaming and crying, my knees buckling under me. These were the cries that no mother should have to hear, and no mother should have to cry. I had never made such sounds in my life. Anyone watching would have witnessed the breaking of 2 mothers' hearts. So this is tough stuff. But she has a really important story to tell. Missing Max is a compelling story of one mother's journey as she recalls the extraordinary events surrounding the death of her Marine son, Corporal Max Donahue. We are so honored and blessed to have Julie Schrock on the show today. Welcome to the Channel Mom Show, Julie.
Thank you.
Yes, I hope that wasn't too upsetting for me to read those words.
Not as upsetting as to write them.
And to live them.
Yeah,
to live them.
yeah.
I always am honored to do a story on a military family because I always see that as my opportunity to thank anybody who's served. So I want to thank you as a mom who went through that and went through the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you
for what you do for our country. I'm honored whenever I meet somebody who's in the military who's done that for us. So thank you to anybody who's out there today. Why don't you tell us the story of your precious, beautiful son? Because he lives on and one day you'll see him in heaven. But,
yes.
But tell us the story.
Max was 23. He was serving as a Marine dog handler over in Afghanistan. He had served in Iraq in 2010 or 2008, and then 2010 is when he was in Afghanistan. And the morning of August 4th, his dog was Fenji, and she had sniffed out about 4 IEDs, improvised explosive devices, and then one was then detonated where Max was laying, and he lost both of his legs and his right arm, and died, or he succumbed to his wound about 3 days later.
But in the meantime, you were given hope. You were called when
Yes.
when your knees were buckling. You still.
We had 2 days of thinking that he was alive, and they were that he was going to be coming home to us. But as it turned out, I've since found out he was brain dead, and so that's actually quite positive because he really never knew what hit him, and he died immediately. But his body kept going. That's what was so interesting about it was his body kept going, and we actually had the privilege of meeting the combat field surgeon who worked on Max. It was a total coincidence or God thing in my mind. But he was gave us the news that Max really was dead instantly, but his body kept going, and the surgeon asked us if Max had been an organ donor. And I said yes, and he basically was falling apart, saying that is the only reason or rationale behind his body living was that God wanted to get those organs to their recipients.
And
Yeah.
was that able to happen?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
does that help you or hurt you? Does that help
Oh,
you?
no, of course, anything good that comes out of it. I have been asked if I wanted to meet them, and I don't. I'm glad that, something good happened, but it's like I think I said in the book as well, I want to be with Max. I don't want to be with his organs.
Yeah, that's right. That's
But
right.
I am glad that there are 3 people that are living much healthier, longer lives.
Yeah. Why did you write the book?
At that point, there wasn't a whole lot else that I could be doing, and I truly felt like God was leading me to do it. I never wanted to write a book. I had no intention of writing a book. I wouldn't even call myself a writer, but I was very led that the events that were happening past Max's death were not just supposed to stay at my house. I was really being blessed, and it was a real witness to how real, the Lord is in our lives.
Because it's what got you through.
And yeah, there wasn't a whole lot else I could do. Work was, my mind really wasn't into work at that point.
I want just to give you 1 minute to do the honor of describing who Max was. Obviously, he had a strong body.
Yeah.
I'm sure it gives you comfort that in his brain he didn't know that he had lost his
Right.
limbs. And so tell me a little bit more. I want to know who he was.
I was thinking when Angie was talking about the bullying, Max was a fighter. And during his high school years, he would be
the protector.
the protector. Absolutely. If he saw somebody getting picked on, he, I always used to look at him and say, honey, that seems to be the righteous thing to do, but I just know you like to fight, and so he felt it was justified fighting, but he really was protected the weaker students.
Because he was strong.
As I would expect her child to be. I have to say that when Julie tells her story, that the thing that really stands out to me is that she could barely function when Max decided he was going to go, that she could not get it out of her mind. And she finally had to write on a piece of paper what was bothering her, because her biggest fear was to lose him, and she could not function when he decided to go. So she wrote on a piece of paper and she gave it to God. She had to give it to God to release when he left. The anxiety was overwhelming to her. And so what really stood out to me was that, and the fact that when he passed away, that she really felt God gave her a comfort or a peace. Will you talk about that?
Let me explain too. We have Angie Austin here with us, and Angie Austin has her own show, The Good News, and she had you on the show, which is why she knows some of this. She's also a friend of yours. But go ahead and explain that too. And just so you know, just so you understand, we have all kinds listen to us. We have people who both are Christians and are not Christians, and so I always try to be sensitive to all of them.
Right.
I love God, but I want people to hear your story.
And I'm glad you said that, because really it would be wrong of me not to, because and these are just my beliefs. This is where I'm coming from, and God was such a part of it for me that that is my story. But
what did you ask her?
It just how do you have peace when your child dies?
Well, life sure changes.
Yeah.
I really look at it as how if he could come back and say something to me, and I could not let this ruin my life. That's not how I raised my kids. If anything happened to me and then they went, into the hole and started ruining their lives, that would not be pleasing to me. So I really look at it as I have an obligation to Max to live as full and as happy a life as possible, not only for myself, but for his brother, my other son. That would be a whole total disregard to my other son, Ryan, to say, well, my life means nothing now because my one son is gone. No, I have a lot to still live for, and I'm expected to do it just as I would expect them to do it.
Right. And obviously, God helped you through that. Shelly and I have a couple friends. I have a friend who's lost 3 of her 4 children, 3 out of 4. And another friend who lost her son when he took his own life. So they too would say what you said.
My best friend and I, we were walking around the cemetery, and that's all you need to do to realize. I realized then that I'm not unique. There are a lot of headstones with teenagers and brothers and sisters, and I think about those parents, and I'm like, I'm not the only one going through this. The loss of a child is huge, but boy, there's a lot of parents out there that are living the same kind of sorrow that I'm living.
Yeah. What do you want people to take away from the book when they read it?
Have hope. Really, you have 2 ways to go. You can really let something like this destroy you, or you can make something out of it.
And where did it happen for you? Because we read that your knees were buckling, you and your mother's hearts were breaking. It was horrendous. And every mom who's sitting in the studio today, that's all our nightmares. And it was for you too. And you were living it. where was the paradigm shift where you thought, I'm not going to rest in this place of sorrow?
When we found out he actually died. Because those 2 days when we thought he was alive, those were tremendous for me, because it was like, get him here. I have to get to him. He can't be going through this without me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was gone, there was nothing left that I could do other than, okay, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
How am I going to represent this death and my son?
Uh-huh. How do you, military-wise, what would you say to other folks?
Oh, the military has been, the Marines, I know now where the expression comes, they're a brotherhood. Yeah. I've met the Marines. I met the two that actually carried him off that field. Keep in mind, he had no legs, and they were under heavy firefighting. And at one point, they had to get him through a body of water, so they had to lift his body over their head. These young men have seen horrific things. That's the other thing I would want to say. And these men and women are coming back. And I was able to tell these lovely men, I live with it every day, but I don't shut my eyes and see it. And I can't imagine the vision that these young people have. And they're in their 20s, very, very young to have to be dealing with these type of visions.
Yeah. We have about 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back. We get a little more time with you. What is it that you would say to other military families or just people who've lost babies? I mean, what would you say? What do you say? There's
not a lot. It does get better. I had a friend who he lost his partner, and he was in a grief group, and there was a woman who was new to the group, and she said, does it ever get better? And 3 of the people said no. And I'm like, boy, where is the support in that group?
Yeah.
It does get better.
But partly because you have to decide.
You have to decide that it's not going to ruin your life. I would even, during those days, fake smile, just and fake laugh just to get the chemicals through, and just to hear it, just to say, there's got to be joy, there's got to be laughter, even if I have to fake it. And it did make you feel a little better, but you'd have a choice and always choose to give back and live.
And do you see now the way in which you're making the right decision?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And especially for my son. I know a lot of people were looking at me as the mom as to, give us our walking papers or help us get through this. In fact, I made it a point to get into the office the Monday after, because I knew other people couldn't start healing until they saw me. So it's just like, just get out there, get it over with, let them see you so that they can start moving on.
Wow. That's big of you. That's really big of you. So coming back, we're going to ask a question or two more. And then we have our another guest that's here to tell us about single moms, and she has a heart for them and wants to help them get on their feet and maybe get jobs. And Shell, if you want to ask a question of Julie, please do.